Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Remarketing, Why, How, and Wow. This webinar will focus on setting up remarketing using your AdWords account. Please be on the lookout for our webinar on setting up remarketing with analytics if you're more of an analytics person. If you have any questions throughout this webinar, please let us know. We'll answer as many questions as possible at the end. And now I'm going to pass it over to Rich and Aaron for the rest of the webinar.
Hi everyone, this is Rich Griffin. I am our search engine manager. I manage our team of PPC managers. I'm here with Aaron Sagan. Aaron, say hello.
Hi guys, I'm our customer success specialist here. I'm happy to see lots of my clients are on the call today, which is great. So here's a roadmap of what we're going to be covering today. We'll start by showing you a little bit about why advertising on the display network is worth your time and money. We'll show you what remarketing is. We'll show you how to set up a successful remarketing campaign in AdWords. Then we'll give you some tips for optimizing that new remarketed campaign. And then we'll follow up with a quick question and answer session. But if you guys have questions along the way, feel free to type them in and we'll try and address them all at the end of the call today. All right, so we're going to start by looking at the display network. And before we get started, I just want to be sure that everyone understands the difference between the search and the display network. Moving forward, the webinar is going to be more focused on intermediate material regarding remarketing through the display network, but I just want to kind of pull everyone up to speed on the two networks.
So what we're looking at here is the search network, and everyone's very familiar with it. We'll get into some of the statistics in a little bit, but basically people spend about 5% of their time here. That number comes from Google, so you can write it down if you'd like. But essentially, the search network is where you go to search for something, and the display network is actually everything else. Like the 95% of the time that's not spent on Google, whether you're in Gmail or on Boston.com looking at sports or New York Times or whatever. There's a lot of opportunity in the display network to re-engage with your customers or initially engage with them. So here's some examples on the screen.
So as you guys can see here, the display network has the #1 reach. Once you're finished working on your search campaigns and you're really comfortable with what you've created via search, I really recommend looking towards expanding to the display network. It's the most widely used network in the United States. 92% of internet users are accessing the display network, so you don't want to miss out on that audience by ignoring the display network.
A little bit of history too. You still have this opportunity, but in the past you would actually pay per 1,000 impression. Remember CPM bidding. Now we're only paying on the click. Again, we'll get into some more of this in more detail, but there's only benefit to be out there in front of these people. You're getting millions of impressions and paying for hundreds of clicks, for example. Not for those millions of impressions, but you can imagine what kind of an effect those millions of impressions will have on your business.
We spend the majority of our time on the display network. So your audience is only spending 5% of their time on search, as Rich pointed out. Don't miss this opportunity to target your audience as they go through their daily activities, as they're checking their emails, reading blogs, perusing social media sites, and so on. This is a great opportunity where you can interrupt them from their daily activities and engage them in your product.
Yeah, so I'm just going to take a quick moment to answer one question that came through about YouTube. YouTube is technically considered the #2 search engine because you do search for content. But because it's owned by Google, you can opt into showing your ads on YouTube through the display network. You have your display-only campaigns or even remarketing, and YouTube is one of those opportunities that your ads can show up on. You can also create YouTube-specific campaigns. We're not going to get into that, but if you want any more information, reach out to your customer success rep. I hope that answered your question.
So what is remarketing? I'm sure a lot of you already know, but just want to get everybody up to speed. It's funny because I think that a lot of our customers feel as though they know what remarketing is, and then as we get into talking about it with them, we realize that there's a lot out there that people aren't clear about what remarketing is. So there's a lot of ways to take advantage of the display network. And today we're focusing on remarketing, which is a feature that allows you to reach people who have previously visited your site and show them relevant ads as they go about their time on the Google Display Network. It sounds confusing, but it's actually a really simple and impactful strategy. Let me give you an example of when I kind of first encountered remarketing. When I was in college, I spent hours searching for a perfect graduation dress. I fell head over heels with one particular dress, but the price tag was way too much for my budget. There were a couple of times that I nearly took the plunge. I would put the dress in my shopping cart and then chicken out before I actually moved forward and purchased the dress. So throughout the following week, as I was finishing all my final school projects and studying for exams, advertisements for this dream dress seemed to start following me around the internet. Every time I would forget about the dress, another ad would pop up, reminding me of what that beautiful dress looked like. So the dress stayed fresh in my mind. Finally, against my better judgment, I purchased the dress, and I convinced myself that it was fate, and I was meant to have that dress. But I now realize I'm a target of remarketing, and it worked for me. I purchased the dress.
I don't buy dresses for myself personally, but I had the same experience with buying jeans. I hate going to the mall. I went to Levi's.com. I knew what I needed, knew what size, but I'm also pretty hesitant about buying clothes. I do it maybe once a year or so. I wear the same thing every day. But those ads were front of mind when I was on my Sports Talk website, and I was like, you know what the hell? There's no reason why I can't. They're right there. And because I do this every day, and some of you might get hit with those WordStream ads, that's me, I'm sorry. I still I didn't fall for it, but it was definitely an opportunity for Levi's to re-engage with me, and it worked. I bought like 3 pairs. So we have another question. Is this also referred to as tag marketing? Technically, I guess yes. The technical term is remarketing. Within Yahoo and Bing, it's called remessaging. You can't remessage with Yahoo Bing through Google, but you'd have to use their networks. Tag remarketing, essentially what happens is, we'll get into it a little bit, but you place a code on your page, and you're tagging your audience members. So I guess it's called tag marketing. I haven't actually heard it called that, but I think it's a good description of it. So, for example, again, I apologize if WordStream ads are stalking you, but what we're doing here is, I have an image of our infographic website, right? You come to the infographic website, you're pre-qualifying yourself because you're introducing yourself to WordStream, and then when you go to the Tucker and Rich on 98.5thesportshub.com website, you can see that we have agency graders opportunity here with our banners, as well as down here. It's just a really good way to re-engage those people that have already come to the site. And again, you don't pay for the click pay for the ad unless they click on it. So it's a nice way to sort of get front of mind and stay front of mind after people leave your website.
All right. So as all of you guys know, we don't always leave websites just because we can't find what we're looking for. These are some Google statistics that they shared with us earlier this year. And as you can see, 96% of searchers actually leave a website before you complete the action that the marketers want them to take. This is so frustrating because, a lot of these people are coming to your website because you're giving them something they're looking for. They just don't make it to that point of conversion. You can also see that 70% of customers abandon their shopping carts before they complete their purchase. That's me. I put that graduation dress in my shopping cart so many times before I actually followed through with my purchase. If I had not been remarketed to, there's no way I would have bought that dress. It was too expensive. I knew my mom would kill me if she caught me buying it, and I just wouldn't have come back. So remarketing really pulled me back in, so I wasn't one of those 30% of visitors.
Right. And sort of just to answer one of the questions that we're getting through the GoTo webinar here, I apologize if you're already a member of WordStream and still being marketed to with these ads. It's kind of part of our strategy where we want to keep our brand front of mind. Whereas if you wanted to, you could actually create exclusion tags. Again, a little bit more technical, and we can, if you want to do that, we can set something up one-off. We're not going to do that today, but you set up these exclusion tags to exclude those people that have converted or, graded their account for or started with a free trial, got a white paper, etc. We can see that, by constantly advertising to you, we're front of mind, and if you're clicking on the ads, that's one thing. But if you're just seeing them and our brand is still in front of you, it's somewhat of a success. But again, I apologize if it's obnoxious.
I think one thing to touch on with remarketing, the people who you're engaging with via this strategy are people who have already expressed interest in your site. They're already a qualified audience. You worked through various methods via SEO or other types of PPC to get these people to your site. So they have already demonstrated interest, and they're all going to be a good opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you talk about success in PPC campaigns, whether they're display, search, or even remarketing, and you're like, oh, 4% conversion rate, that's success. Well, it is, but there's also a 96% failure rate, so we really want to get those people that are already qualified themselves, they've been to the site, they're introduced to our brand, and we should definitely keep reaching out to them and nurture those leads, or those clicks, to see if we can turn them into leads.
So remarketing is not as scary as it sounds. It's actually a pretty simple thing to set up. So I'm going to turn things over to Rich, and he's going to be showing you guys how to set up a remarketing campaign via AdWords. Don't feel like you have to take notes. I'm going to be sending out Rich's cheat sheet to remarketing, which is an 11-step guide to remarketing. So just follow along here, but don't feel that you need to be writing all of this down.
Right, and 11 steps seems a bit much, but I really try to break it down as granular as possible. So let's see here. Let me jump into, okay, we're in our demo AdWords account here. So the first thing, like we said before, you always want to define your remarketing strategy. Whether you want to target everybody on every single page of your website, or target those people that hit that infographic page, as we saw in that example before. That's the first thing you really should do. Just understand who you want to market to and why. And then moving forward, you create tags and you set them up appropriately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one tag, and my goal is to put it on every page of the website and then get everybody into my audience. So the first thing I'm going to do is, and again, if you guys can't see what I'm doing with the mouse, just type into the box there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate to shared library down here in the bottom left. Okay, and here we are. We have audiences, we have budgets, we have campaign network keywords, negative keywords, etc. We're really looking at this view link here under audiences. And this is where we're going to create our tag. You can see I have a couple established already. What's nice is after you place this tag, you will see your list size and how many people are actually getting tagged with that list, with that cookie. But we're going to start fresh. So the first thing we do is add new audience and remarketing list. Okay? And then we see, we're going to skip this first bullet. It gets a little bit technical, but we're going to jump down to the second one here. And we're going to hardwire our tag and put it on all of our pages. But first we have to create it. So you just hit the new tag link in that green button and define the membership duration. So this is where you get to think about your strategy, right? Is your buying cycle long? Are you buying a car? Or are you selling cars online? Which is kind of crazy, but people do it. But then you can imagine that buying cycle is long. If you're selling software, there's going to be a lot of initial research, and maybe you purchase the software 2 months out or 3 months out. For our example here, and for the default, I'm going to pick 30 days because I feel like it's sort of on the cusp of being front of mind, but not so much stalking. So we're just going to use 30 days, and we're going to target all of the people on the site. You want to name it. So this one, again, have a descriptive name just so you know what you're looking at, because you're going to have a list of tags, and you want to know which tag is associated with which audience. So I'm going to call this one the everyone who visited my page, everyone who visited my site. Okay? And again, here's an optional description box where you can actually write a paragraph about what you want to do. It depends on how finicky you are. I think my title is descriptive enough, but you might want to add a little bit more information in the description. I'm going to leave it blank for now. We have a question. Okay, so rule-based versus tag-based, again, it's a little bit more technical than I want to get into on this sort of 101 remarketing piece, but just a quick overview. If you place one tag across your entire site, then you can define custom segments of that tag. So you can say, okay, reached page infographic, and you can create custom lists from the rule-based. Tag-based means I'm going to put one tag on a high-value page and another tag on another high-value page. And then you can associate those tag-based, so the high-value page tag, to specific ad groups. Again, it's a little confusing. If you want to get more information around this, we can have a one-off and reach out to your CS rep for that, and hopefully I can get on a call with you. But again, we're going to do the tag-based here. Again, 30-day duration and descriptive title, and then we're going to hit save. Okay, so this is about as technical as I'm going to get. So everyone who visited my website, and then here over here in the link, we want to click on tag, and this brings up the code. If you do the work yourself and you know how to place code into your HTML, all you're doing is going into the HTML of that high-value page and placing this code right before the last body tag. Look for, open bracket, front/body. Put it right above that. If someone else is working your backend for you, doing your development, this is very simple stuff. They'll be able to do it. And again, there's insertion guides and things within Google if you wanted to. Again, copy the code, place it on your page. I'm going to return to audiences. So we've created our code, which is pretty great, right? It took a little bit of time, but once you do it the first time, it's really easy moving forward. Okay, I'm going to hit pause there for a second. Again, we're going to send out the 11-step guide, so you don't have to take all these notes. It really lays it out very granularly, step by step. I'm actually using it to assist me as a walkthrough. Okay, now that we've created the tag has been placed on the website. You have to create a remarketing campaign, and then within that campaign, you have to create an ad group that's specific to the audience of the tag. Okay, so we are going to go to campaign, and then we see the new campaign here. Pick display network only, because that's where remarketing works. Give it a sec. Google's a little slow. Okay. Now we're going to name it. And again, we want to make sure that we're very descriptive in our titles. It just makes management of things like this a lot easier. So I'm going to call it remarketing only. Okay. See, we have type, display network only, and then on the right here we have a couple of options. Choose remarketing. We can load settings from an existing campaign, or we can just skip them. I'm going to skip them because I want to walk through some of those settings with you. Our budget bidding options, we can do manual clicks for now. This will change over time. You optimize for clicks the same way you would for keywords. Look at performance, look at the cost per click and the number of clicks and how many conversions you're generating and whatnot. For the sake of it, I'm going to choose a $10 a day budget. Save and continue. Okay. So the second step is defining the ad group name. We're going to create an ad group specific to the audience tag that we created. So we're going to call this everyone who visited my site. Okay. Our default bid, again, you'll know what your default bid should be after the campaign or the ad group is live for a little bit, but I'm just going to start off low with $1. In this list here, you see remarketing list. And then we look for the tag that we just created, everyone who visited my website. And just toggle it over. So our selected audiences for the new ad group is everyone who visited my website. Again, save and continue. So we've created our campaign, we've created our ad group, our code is already placed on our site. Now we have to do ads. Right now, just because of time constraints, we're going to create a text ad for this remarketing campaign, but just remember, within the display network, the 20% of the total ads served are text ads. So 80% are actually image ads. So create your image ads. You can either use the image ad builder within AdWords, or if you have a creative team that does this, create those and load them up. Again, if you need assistance, reach out to your CS rep. Okay, so I'm just going to create a generic ad for this. And then, again, this is our demo account. It's about music instrument information. So the headline is just all about music information. a little too long, so we'll just call it all about music info. This would be easier. Okay, same thing. You know, we have our description line. You don't necessarily have to, you're not optimizing for keywords, but you really want to optimize for a call to action. So I'm just saying sign up now for the exclusive content. And it's all about music inspiration. Oops. Okay, there we go. That's it. I created my ad. Again, these ads are going to be very specific to the audience. So within WordStream, you know, when I remarket, I really want you guys to come and grade your accounts because it's a good bit of our lead gen. You may also want to do some free trials, or if you're selling a product, you know, buy this pair of jeans that works for me, you know, or Erin's dress. Although I wouldn't buy the dress, and Erin did. That's on her. But again, the ad's created, we hit done. I'm only going to do one, but again, like anything else, you want to have multiple bits of ad copy running to see which one performs the best. We're never going to nail down the language from the start, so you don't want to just have one by itself.
I think it's good also to think about the audience that you've set this to. So we're focusing on everyone who's visited our site. So we're using a fairly general ad. But let's say, for example, you've decided to focus on people who came to a particular product page but didn't make it through. It might be good to show them an image of that particular product. Or if it's someone who came to the site, made a purchase, and you're hoping they'll come back again, you might offer them a discount on their next purchase.
Yep, exclusive discount for returning members, 20% off. You know, it's a really good way to re-engage. And again, we talk about the quality of the click and the qualified clicker. These people are already introduced to your brand. They already know who you are because they've been to the site. That's how they get tagged. So it's not blind, right? Search by itself is kind of blind. You're introducing non-branded traffic to a new brand. With remarketing, they already know who you are. You can offer them discounts, and you know, you end up paying for the click, but it's a good click. Okay, so you can see here, back to the demo. Our ad is created. You're going to have image ads in here as well. But the next step is you want to associate the tag that we created in the first couple of steps with the ad group. So still on the left here, still everyone who visited my site. Click on the Display Network tab here. And Google's a little slow again, I apologize. Everybody's slow. It's like after the holiday hangover, I guess. Let's give it a second here. Okay, click on the Display Network tab, and then over here on Interest in Remarketing. Click that. Okay, now that we're here, we're in the Interest in Remarketing location. On the left, we say it has a plus sign, Change Display Targeting. Just click on that. Okay. Within this dialog box, we have remarketing lists. Click on that link. And everyone who visited to my website is now your selected audience. Do you see how that works? Okay. You can hit Save. So now we're live. We have remarketing live. Your ads won't show until you hit a certain number, minimum threshold of people who get tagged by the code. So it's, say you put your code on today, it may take 3 days, it may take 3 hours for the number of minimum people to get tagged with the code. I think it's 130 days, right? Yep, 100 unique people get tagged with the code within 30 days. After that, your ads will start showing. Okay, so let's just go back and let's just take a look at some of the settings. So we've set up our campaign, we wrote our ad, we've linked our audience to our ad group. But one thing to pay attention to are actually the settings. These are important. I'll give you some of my best practices, some somewhat more conservative ways to do things. The first thing I would do is change your devices, exclude mobile. No, mobile's not horrible by any means, but you got to think about the audience searching up mobile and all those other things. I think you're better dollars spent on desktop and tablets, desktop laptops and tablets. Again, location. understand what your reach is. So I'll use WordStream again as an example. There's something to say about the people that come to your site. And again, people eligible for this audience are those who come through paid search, those who come through organic or direct traffic. So with paid search, we may be targeting only the United States, but people are coming to our website from other English-speaking countries like Ireland or something. We want to make sure that those people are still in our audience because they're still good leads. Although we're not focusing our reach on Ireland in paid search, they still came to the site, they still introduced themselves, and they could be a really good click or a potential customer. But again, think about who you want to reach. Maybe it's only the U.S. Maybe it's all English-speaking countries. For this example, I'm gonna choose the United States. We just click Add, and then we hit Save. So again, computers and tablets, targeting in the United States, and then think about the languages. Again, because we're targeting the U.S., the majority of U.S. Speak English, but you could pick Spanish speakers too, but you don't have Spanish language ads, so you may want to just, again, focus your dollars where they're really going to count. I'm going to choose English. All right. So the last thing that's a little bit interesting, and it gets a little, you have to think outside the box, how people are going to perceive you if you're constantly followed around, and it's called frequency capping. So are you the stalker cat? Are you constantly stalking everybody, or do you want to just hit them, five times in a week or 5 times in a day? And that's what you do with your frequency capping here. Again, don't set it as no cap on impressions, because then you're just going to constantly follow the same audience. I usually set an impression cap. I start with 5 or 6. We'll just say 6, and we'll say per week and for this ad group. You could do it for the campaign if you had multiple ad groups, or per ad, you wanted each individual ad to be served to the same person 6 times in a week, which if you have 12 variations, 6 times 12, 72, it's a lot of impressions. 6 impressions per week per ad group. One of the recent changes that I made with WordStream that I saw that was working was we noticed that the time lag, the time that somebody came to the site and time that people converted, occurred within like a 5-day period. So what we ended up doing was we target, we have 3 impressions per day per ad group. And then we have exclusion codes to wipe out those people that have already converted in some cases. So I'll hit 6 per week per ad group. But again, if you want to learn more about exclusion codes, send Erin an email and we'll set something up. Sorry, Erin. Okay, so we have a question about repeating one of the steps.
Yeah, the 30 days.
Okay, we want to repeat the 30 days, so the duration of the cookie. Again, go back into Shared Library, and we'll go to the tag that we just created. We're over here. Everyone who visits my website, click. Hold on one second. Okay, we can do it right from this box here. So the membership duration is sort of it's a rolling duration. So if you come to the website again on first, and then you come back 20 days later, that first day you get tagged, you get into the audience, and then you're 30 days out from that first day. The second day you get tagged on the 20th, you're 30 days out from there. So you can imagine how you're constantly being added back into the audience. By default, Google picks 30 days. It's just their number. I'm not really sure where 30 days comes from, but they claim that the majority of new leads come within the first month of being engaged. I don't necessarily believe that, because you can imagine the different products that you sell. If you're selling sneakers, you might, you maybe don't need to do a ton of research on sneakers if you have the best price.
Movie tickets.
Movie tickets, right. You want to just buy tickets to Lincoln for tonight or something, But if you're selling software, like I said, that software, the cost of that software for the person searching for the software is a significant investment. So you want to give them a little bit of time. You want to keep re-engaging with them, because they're going to take about, I don't know, Google says 10 bits of information before they come in and become a customer or a hot sales lead. So you might want to open your 30-day window up to 540 days if you wanted to target that many days, or maybe it's 2 months or 3 months. Again, this is something that you should think about internally before you activate it. But if you wanted to start off fresh with 30 days, I think that's fine. But it's a good way to expand your reach to open up the code.
And Rich, if somebody clears their cookies regularly, every time that they visit the site, are they kind of restarting their time on that remarketing?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we're not going to hit those people that are blocking cookies. And if somebody, say, clears their cookies every night when they close their browser or something, but they keep coming back to the website, they're continuously added as a unique person to the audience. The same way as if you didn't clear your cookies and you came on the 1st and then came back on the 30th, the 30-day window starts from the last time that the person came to the site. We have another question. How long until the list begins? Typically, it's 100 tags within 30 days. Well, like I said, those 100 tags depends on the volume that you get. It could be within an hour. So if you're selling blinds or you're a Home Depot, right, you're going to get those 100 unique visitors in like a minute. But if you're doing something a little bit more niche, it might take a little longer to build up that audience. And honestly, Google says 100 unique visitors, but they waver. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that they scale it back a little bit based on the number of unique visitors you get in a month. They haven't written that, but I've seen it happen. Okay, so again, let's just go back to the campaign. Just double check the settings. So here we are, remarketing only, and then display network remarketing, computers and tablets, United States, English, $10 a day. Again, this budget is totally dependent on what you want to spend. You may never even come close to $10 a day, or maybe $10 a day is not enough. Those are things that you'll learn as you move forward. And our impression cap is per user per week for each ad group to get 6 impressions across the board. Okay, so I'm going to go back to online campaigns, and that's that. Well, we should see it performing, as soon as we hit that minimum threshold of users. So let's go back into the presentation.
All right, so like I promised, we are going to send that remarketing cheat sheet afterwards. You guys will have this to refer to, kind of a snapshot of what it'll look like.
And it includes everything that's said. So again, it's
a summary.
I'm putting this in air quotes. Simple 11-step. It's really granular. It maps things out. But if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out.
Absolutely. So as I did my research on remarketing for this, I went to all of our specialists to figure out, once you've created a remarketing campaign, what do you do with it? Do you need to optimize it like the rest of your PPC account? Can you just let it go? And these were the top 5 recommendations that our specialists had in terms of improving your remarketing campaign.
Yeah, so the first one we say tweak your bids based on your target audience. So we created one audience that was catch-all, right? It's going to get everybody who visited my site. But maybe you have like a hot offer, or WordStream releases their latest infographic. Because it's so new, I want to make sure that I'm paying more for the clicks on the infographic because it's a large opportunity for even new traffic. And plus, like, you can imagine whether somebody, say you have a remarketing code set up on a white paper, right? And you get those people that download the white paper. That's great. But you might want to pay more for those people that actually have become free trials because they're further down the funnel. So just think about it that way. You're willing to pay more for exact match keywords because they're more specific. Well, you should be willing to pay more for, like further down the funnel opportunities.
The next one is test your ad copy. This is a no-brainer. We recommend this with all of your different campaigns, and you should also be doing it with remarketing. You always want to keep it fresh. You always want to test new ads. So definitely focus on that ad copy.
And that ad copy should point to different landing pages, right? So try one landing page. Maybe it's the grader. Maybe the next one is an industry-specific grader, or just constantly optimize and never ever set it and forget it because the search landscape changes so frequently. I mean, how many times does Google update their algorithm? Like once a day? I don't know. So you really need to be on top of these things. And remember that we're relying on people sitting down in a chair coming to the website, and that's a huge variable. So you need to constantly refresh everything so you're staying on top of it.
Experiment with different frequency caps. You want to make sure that you're not stalking anyone. So just keep track of your frequency caps and definitely experiment with it with different numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. I can't say better than that. And remember, you're only paying on the click. So imagine the brand awareness that you're building on those ads. They've come to the website. maybe they didn't execute an action or whatever. They're being served those ads. They're kind of staying front of mind in those people that have already qualified themselves to the website. And whether you see a direct conversion come through remarketing or somebody navigate, you won't necessarily see that happen all the time. You might see that there's an increase in direct traffic or referral traffic. There's a good opportunity to build brand awareness through remarketing as well because, like we said, we're only paying for the clicks. So you can get 1 million impressions and only have to pay for 50 clicks. And those 1 million impressions are going to go a long way.
And then finally, I think the most important one on here is just don't sweat the small stuff. No matter what, with remarketing, you're targeting a good audience. You're targeting people who are already interested in what you're selling. So no matter what you're doing with remarketing, it's probably going to benefit you.
So just, again, for example, it's over the last 7 days, it's the #1 converting campaign for the WordStream PPC account. Probably shouldn't tell you guys that, but it is. It works really well, but optimize it. You know, have a cost per acquisition goal, have a cost per click goal, and you know, optimize it like you would with everything else.
And the odds are in your favor.
Thanks, Katniss.
I know. I always think about that when I wrote this. So according to a study that Google did back in 2010, a typical account is getting a better or a lower CPA, higher conversion rate, higher click-through rates than their typical display network campaign. So remarketing really tends to be a home run for a lot of accounts. Here are a couple of resources if you guys want to check out where we're, getting some of our information, where we're learning more about remarketing. One thing that you really need to keep an eye out for, remarketing has changed significantly throughout the past several years. And like we stated earlier, we have it in both analytics and through AdWords. So be sure that the information you're reading is up to date. And be sure, if you're focusing on it through AdWords, that you're not reading analytic content.
Exactly. So question time. So we're going to take a second. Guys, get your questions in. We're going to read through them and then sort of prioritize, not prioritize, but group them together so we can answer as many as we can possibly.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think there was a good one on here. Someone asked whether you could set up remarketing in WordStream. And for right now, we're not able to set it up through WordStream, but you can still monitor the campaign through WordStream. You can see, I had somebody ask, can you pause that campaign? If you want to do basic things like pausing the campaign, you can absolutely do that through WordStream.
Basically, in WordStream, you're not going to be able to create the remarketing tags or the image ads. But other than that, you can do everything else, bids and things like that, settings. Is it worth having a thank you for coming back language? Yes, it's great. Think about put yourself in the shoes of the visitor. What do they want? What are they going to be most engaged with? And just try to keep writing your ad copy for them because it's all about them, right? You think about a marketer and you think about like marketing for a business and it should be this way, right? But like we told you before, the variable of the person sitting in the chair on the computer or on their laptop, it changes. It's all about them. So it's like test your copy over time and see what works and constantly make changes to it. And that type of language should work. Yeah. But again, give it 30 days. Give it a number of clicks. Give it a certain cost threshold, and then make a decision.
A lot of people are also asking whether we can send a copy of these additional resources out. As I send out that 11-step guide that Rich has created, I'll try and add some of those articles in there so you guys can check those out. A couple of people are sending in specific questions based on their specific accounts. If you need help with your actual remarketing campaign that's currently running, reach out to your customer success rep. We'll be able to give it a little bit more attention, take a look at it in your actual AdWords campaign, and give you some recommendations there.
Thank you, everyone. I think that's all the time we have for questions. If you have any questions at the end of this, please reach out to your CS rep. We're here to help you with any questions. Also, like Aaron said, we'll be sending out that 11-step guide, and please be on the lookout for our remarketing using analytics webinar that should be coming out soon. I hope you all have a great day, and thanks for tuning in.